Episode 2. I have a feeling that we're going to be getting a lot of previously on montages at the beginning of these episodes, so I won't go over them every time. Um, the narration for these are the same woman who does the previews at the end of the episodes for the next episode. Um, so it's consistent, which is good. Consistency is always nice. Immediately, my first thought when the episode actually started was, why the fuck did they call them UFOs? They didn't say UFOs. They said UFOs. What? Well, anyway, turns out, of course, the invading aliens have done this before and sent a decoy wave of fighters. The real invasion is about to begin. And it is going to go awfully. Meanwhile, Hotshot's being an idiot. There. Hotshot is being an idiot in the mech suit. Turns out, when you don't know how to walk or control the walking mech suit, you can't walk correctly. I like that these characters have flaws. Better than half the fucking anime landscape right now where everyone is so perfect. There's nothing that can ever go wrong for them. Fucking Goku. Not even death can stop Goku. So what the fuck? Anyway, the so-called MILF from the first episode is actually more of an older sister. Um, and her name is Min Mei, as we established. And Hotshot nearly steps on her little brother or cousin. It's never established to this point what the child's relationship is to this woman, but I don't think it matters in the long run, somehow. By the way, the child nearly fucking dies in this episode. Hotshot nearly steps on him. And honestly, fuck the little bastard. Squish him. Back with the Macross itself. They gain intel that helicopters are being sent out to check on check on the seas around the island. Because, as it turns out, the aliens have sent down some of their forces. And almost immediately, the helicopters die. Like, the helicopters explode and die from the fire of the. Well, from the guns being fired at them. Being fired at them. It's pathetic, really. So the captain and his crew are basically mentally dealing with that. And then in walks a politician going, capitalism, 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 let's launch this fucking ship. I don't care that it's under docked, let's just launch this fucker. And he says this in front of the entire staff, so it's going to happen. And the waifu at the Queens is completely worried about it. It's established at this point that she had been excited about it, but now that it's actually happening in the middle of a battle, she's not ready. And I just can't help but think, would anyone be? Anyway, the captain gives in to the politicians because, of course, and begins the launch to buy some time. Because that's all it really is, since during all of this, the city is being evacuated. It's not going well. As we see as we go back to Hotshot with the X suit, which he only now comes out of in front of Minmay and her child. Um they sort of talk a little bit, except they don't really say anything worth mentioning. And they get interrupted anyway by a van driver, which is typical for these kinds of situations. Which leads to Hotshot basically nearly destroying another building. As it turns out, it's the building that Minmay is inside, so. Yikes. I mean, the child almost got squished, so that's good, but Minmay is actually important for reasons, so. Hey ho. The ship gets ready to launch, and they're about to go up into space, or at least into the sky. But then they get, well, I'm not entirely sure if it was they got grappled. They were definitely surrounded at this point, but the ship also has anti-gravs that failed. The anti-gravs failed on the first firing. Why? By the way, the captain at this point calls the entire ship, well, almost calls it a piece of shit. He gets interrupted by one of the crew members reminding him of the state of the ship, but he was saying what we were all thinking. The ship is a piece of shit. Back with Hotshot, he's having difficulty standing upright in the mech suit. So Senpai goes on his way to check on him and help. And that's the end of the first part. One and a half episodes in to into a series that's supposedly about a galactic war, and we still don't have any fight scenes. That's going to change in a little bit. Um, Staying with Hotshot and his leader, I guess at this point, his teacher. Um, the teacher fixes Hotshot's mech. Just uses his weird wire tendrils to fix it up, which I'm not sure that's Earth tech, but whatever. He also takes the time to perv over Minmate again, which is pretty fucking creepy. And then the ground assault begins, or at least it's about to begin. They're sending down the ground troops. Begin the attack, and Minmay immediately goes from being in danger from the good guys to immediately going back into danger for the bad guys because she forgot something at her home. This It's such a common thing. I hate it. Why? Clearly it wasn't that important if you forgot it in the middle of a fucking invasion. Whatever. The city essentially gets hit from orbit by a barrage of lasers. And then the ground assault officially begins with the enemies, well, with the aliens swarming the city. Uh, robot mech suits. And again, Min-Mei is put immediately in danger. She actually very nearly gets killed, but Hotshot and his teacher arrive just in time to save her. Hotshot gets the mission of keep her safe. Oh, the squadron leader who, you know, is a war hero, is the one who should be the main character, who has character flaws, gets to go off and play the hero. Unfortunately, um, Hotshot forgets that there's a second seat in the cockpit, so Min-Mei's sort of just in the hand of the mech, even though it's now half mech, half Bane. Kind of reminds me of Sonic X a little bit. Um, with the Tornado X. Actually, that might be where they got the idea. Now that I think about it. Anyway, so Hotshot is flying through the air, holding the waifu, I guess, the second waifu, main waifu for the series. The arm gets shot off, holding her in midair, and she begins to fall. Of course, because she's plot important, she gets caught by Hotshot. Like, physically caught with one hand, put into the other seat behind him. And they barely survive because they were going straight to the ground. Like, a few more seconds and they would have been dead. Both of them. They have a quick joke about her hair being more important than her life, which is so sexist, but also kind of cute. Kind of rooting for them to get together already. They're probably not, but one can dream. And they immediately crash into an enemy, which just. Why? This hotshot pilot was able to easily outspeed these super jets in a not decrepit but like older model of plane. Ended up crashing into an enemy because of a hot chicken in his co-pilot seat. What the fuck? So both hotshot and the enemy recover and well, hotshot manages to destroy the walker part of the enemy, but out climbs a giant. And we're not talking like 7 foot tall. We're talking same size as the fucking fighter, which is like 15 foot tall in its half plane, half gun Gundam style. There, you know the half plane, half mech suit setting. A 15 foot tall humanoid giant from space. Oh, by the way, the ammo that Hotshot had runs out from the actually kind of normal gun that the fighter can hold in its hand. Like, first off, why isn't that even a integrated part of the fighter? Second off, why does he only have one clip? Third, what the fuck? How did he miss killing this giant? It's a fucking giant. Kind of hard to miss it with a gun from like 20 feet away. Especially when every shot hit the mechanical walker that the giant was inside. It it just doesn't make any sense. But anyway, he's out of options. He's about to die with this girl behind him. And then, of course, his teacher flies in and saves them. Meanwhile, the ship takes off and begins to head to space. They're about to be left behind, but Hotshot is having a moment. Honestly, it's a good episode, establishing more of the rules of combat, some more of the chains of command, um, properly introducing the character of Minmay, who at the end of the episode is completely out of it. Like she's just having a deep sleep while everything goes to shit around her. There's actual character motivations and um by the way, I skipped over the fight scene because there was a small bit of a fight scene where explosions went off and died, and there was there's probably going to be a lot more fighting coming up if the next episode preview is any indication. But I just hope that we do keep a good balance of fighting and character stuff, because this is actually good stuff. I'm enjoying this a lot more than I do Star Wars. And I love Star Wars, so that's saying something. Anyway, that was episode 2. Now on to episode 3. See you in a bit. There. Voice crack. See you in a bit.